Assalamu alaikum guys. So in today's lecture we are going to do past papers of metals. But today we are going to specifically cover the past papers of extraction of metals, okay, and iron. Okay. Now let's start the first question. In the extraction, in the extraction of aluminium by electrolysis, its oxide is dissolved on molten chrolite. Chrolite is a sodium salt. Okay. So now the question is aluminium is deposited at the dash. So as we know, aluminum has a positive charge, right? Three positive charge, right? So because it's positive, it will always go to the negative electrode, okay? So it will always be deposited at negative electrode. So if we say it's positive, so this isn't, and this, so now we can say that either it will be C or D, okay? Now let's move on. And it can be deduced that aluminum is dash sodium in the reactivity series. Means that aluminium is basically that, and it can be reduced that aluminum is dash sodium in the reactivity series. So we know that aluminum is lower than sodium in the reactivity series, right? If we see that first is sodium, then is potassium, that's magnesium, that's aluminum. So we can see that aluminum is lower than Na. We can say that it's below than Na. So answer D can be the correct answer. Now let's move on to the second part. Metals usually occur in their ore combined with another element. Which metal is least likely to occur combined with another element? So the answer in this can be, it can't be aluminum, okay, because we see it's I think called bauxite, okay, aluminum ore. Then it's calcium, then it's magnesium, and we don't uh like it isn't the least occurring because we can find them. But silver is the least occurring element that can combine with other element, okay, because we see that calcium also combines easily and magnesium also combines easily. Moreover, aluminum also combines easily, but silver, because it's least reactive, it doesn't combine easily and it cannot be found. It isn't usually seen in a ore, okay, and hence D is the answer. Now let's look at question number three. Which element can only be extracted from its ore using electrolysis? Now this question is basically that asking that which element can be extracted, it can be extracted from its ore using electrolysis. So the answer to this can be silver, okay? Because silver is cannot be extracted by other methods, but calcium, copper, and lead can be, okay? Now let's move on to four. Scrap iron is often recycled. Which reason for recycling is not correct? So let's see the first reason. It reduces the amount of pollution at the site of the ore extraction. So this is correct, okay? This is correct. Now the because it's asked which is not correct. It reduces the amount of waste taken to landfills. So this is also correct that it reduces. Then it reduces the need to collect scrap iron. So this doesn't make like that much importance. This that much sense. So I think C is incorrect. And it's a natural resource, that's like common sense. And C is basically not, C is the basically option, okay, which is not correct. The position of metal M in the reactivity series is shown. So here is metal M, okay, and its position is shown. Which method can be used to extract M from its ore? So if we see M because it's above carbon, it can be reduced from its oxides by heating with coke, okay, because it's above carbon, okay, like so it can be reduced. Some metals can be obtained by the reduction of their oxides with hydrogen. Which line of the table is correct? So it's asking that which line is correct. So some metals can be obtained by the reduction of their oxides with hydrogen. Okay. So basically, hydrogen only reduces those substances which are below it, like this H, and here comes silver, gold. Okay. and copper, silver, gold. These three metals are basically reduced by hydrogen. And okay, now if we see first aluminum, no, it cannot be, because the tech shows that it can be obtained, but aluminum cannot be obtained by the reduction of the oxide with hydrogen. Okay, so now let's, so means that A is not the answer. Now if we look at B, aluminum, yes, it cannot be obtained. Now let's see copper. Copper can be obtained. Okay, silver can also be obtained, and sodium can also be obtained. So B is the correct answer to this. Now let's go to question number 7. Which statement is not a reason for the importance of recycling aluminium? Okay, now let's see the first option. Aluminium is a rare metal in the Earth's crust. No, this is the first option is not correct. So don't have to see the third three other options. But still, let's see. The demand of aluminium continues to rise. Yes, there's also the extraction of aluminum. Yes. This is also the properties of aluminium makes it one of the most. Yeah, this is also a reason. So BCD is not a reason. Is the as we know that high carbon steel are stronger and low carbon steel are not stronger. That's the simple uh the property of these two elements. Okay, the two compounds. Now if we see stronger, so it means that A and B can be the answer. Now if we see the other part, it says more easily shaped. So as we know that low carbon steel are ductile. Okay, so it means that it can be, so B can be the answer because they are ductile. We also have done the properties that they are also ductile. Okay, so B is the correct answer. Iron is extracted from hematite in a blast furnace. Okay, now which other raw material is added in this extraction? Now we have seen the formula for this, which is like limestone plus coke. Okay, so they are added to this blast furnace, right? So means that limestone is the other raw material. So it means C is the answer. Third question. Okay. What is the third question by the way? So aluminum reacts with chromium oxide as shown. Aluminum plus chromium oxide, which forms chromium plus aluminum oxide. So in this displacement reaction is occurring because aluminum is more reactive than chromium. It displaces chromium, and hence chromium is displaced by aluminum and becomes aluminum oxide, and chromium is separated. Now, which statement is correct? The one's first statement is aluminum is more reactive than chromium. Yes, so aluminum is more reactive than chromium because it, as we can see that in the displacement reaction above, chromium has been displaced by aluminum. Okay, now the second point. A similar reaction will also take place between aluminum and iron. Yes, because aluminum is also more reactive than iron, and hence a similar reaction will occur. Now, number third, iron 3 oxide is reduced by another metal in the blast furnace. No, here this third point is not correct because iron 3 oxide is not reduced by another metal in the blast furnace, but it is reduced by carbon monoxide. Okay, monoxide in the blast furnace. So 1 and 2 is correct. So I means B part is correct. Which item is made from mild steel? So from mild steel, a car body cannot be made because it isn't like that stuff. Okay, it isn't good in strength. Container stored gas in a chemical plant can also not be made because reaction can also occur with it. Moreover, capable for use in it can also not be made. Okay, because it uses a hard metal. More set of culture can be made. Okay, because we see like the spoon which we always bend. Okay, by other hands. So it isn't made from the high carbon steel, but it is made from low carbon steel. Now let's move on to fifth question. Iron is produced in the blast furnace. Okay. Now, which statement is about this process is correct? Look at the first process. Carbon is oxidized to carbon dioxide. Yeah, first point is correct because when carbon reacts with the oxygen which is coming from this hot air. When it reacts, it forms CO2. It means that carbon gains oxygen. So in the redox reaction, we have done the property of oxidation, that whenever an element gains oxygen, it will undergo oxidation. Okay, so carbon is oxidized to carbon dioxide. So is the answer. Now let's move on. Okay, 2.6. Iron rusts when exposed to oxygen in the presence of water. Okay, iron rusts when exposed to oxygen in the presence of water. Okay, which method will not slow down the rate of an iron? Wait, now let me erase this because problem is there in this. Sorry. Okay. So which method will not slow down the rate of rusting of an iron roof? Okay. Attaching strips of copper to it. No. This will increase, not slow down, but will increase the rate. Okay. And B, coating it with plastic. Yes, it will slow down. So B cannot be the answer. Galvanizing it with zinc. Yes, this will also slow down. So it will also not be. And painting it will also slow down. But and so A is the answer. Now let's move on to question number 7. Aluminium and copper are often used to make coins, but iron is not. Which statement explains it? Iron is above both aluminium and copper in the reactivity series. This is false. Iron is more expensive to manufacture than aluminium. No, this is also not right. Iron is rarer than both aluminium and copper. No, this is also not. Iron reacts with water. Yes, this is why iron is not used to make coins. Okay, because it can react with water easily. Which substances are removed from the bottom of the blast furnace? One, coke. Two, iron. Three, limestone. Four, slag. As you know that iron and slag are the products of the process in the blast furnace. Hence, 2 and 4 will be the answer, which is D. Now let's move on to the next question, which is 9. Which diagram correctly illustrates the condition necessary for the rusting of iron and also metal that can be used to prevent rusting for sacrificial protection? So in this, what is asked? Which diagram correctly illustrates the conditions necessary for rusting of iron? So the metal that can be used to prevent rusting. Okay, so D can be the answer because when oxygen and H2O, they both are present, only rusting can happen. And when a metal which is more reactive than the metal, it is present, it will stop the rusting. So hence D can be the answer because both are present. Now let's move on to question number 10. Iron is extracted from iron ore in a blast furnace, which solid substance are fed into the top of the blast furnace. So in the top, as we can see that, as we know that we add coke, hematite, okay, and limestone. We know this, right? This is a fact. So we know that coke is added, not chloride, but and limestone is added. So 1 and 3 means C can be the answer. Okay. Now let's move on to question number 11. Iron is manufactured in the blast furnace. Which statement about iron and its manufacture is not true? Means okay. So which statement about iron is manufactured is not true. Iron is readily abundant. It is a continuous process. Pure iron is produced. Reducing agent is cheap. Okay. So in this, so in this, so in this, this we can say that C can be the correct answer. Okay, why? The question is why? Because pure iron is not produced until we like refine it. Okay, so hence C is not the is not true. Okay, simple. While B is also true because it's continuous and it is really abundant and reducing agent is cheap because it's limestone and limestone is cheap. Oh no, reducing agent, yeah, it's CO2. CO, CO, only CO, so it is cheap. In the extraction of iron, carbon monoxide acts as a reducing agent, okay? It acts as a reducing agent. It doesn't act a catalyst or an inert gas or an oxidizing agent, or it acts as a reducing agent because it reduces Fe2O3. It takes this O from Fe2 and okay, so it takes this FO3 from Fe2. Now let's move on to this. Iron is extracted from its ore hematite Fe2O3 by reduction process in the blast furnace, which equation for reaction in the blast furnace shows the formation of the reducing agent. So reducing agent is when carbon dioxide reacts with carbon and forms CO. So C is the correct answer. Okay. While this isn't forming the reducing agent, and all three are not, while C is forming. Okay, so the steel bodies of a car can be protected from rusting by spraying them with zinc. Why is zinc used? Okay, so by the way, why is zinc used? Because zinc is higher in the reactivity series than iron. Okay, zinc does not react with acidic exhaust fumes. No, this is not the reason why it is used. This is also not the reason zinc forms a stable compound with iron. And zinc has a melting point, high melting. This is also not the reason, but D is the reason that it is high in the reactivity series, so it will be working as a sacrificial protection. Okay. In the manufacture of iron using a blast furnace, which reaction generates heat? So in this doesn't generate heat. This also reaction doesn't. But when carbon reacts with oxygen, like for example, there is a coal, which is carbon, right? When we burn it, the reaction occurs and it generates heat, right? Like this is the coal and it generates heat, right? And on this coal is meat is being grilled. Okay, yeah. So leave it. So C is the correct answer. Now let's move on to 416. Four test tubes were set up as shown. Each piece of iron was protected on one side by different coating. In which test tube is the iron least likely to rust? So grease, yeah, it will, but let's move on. Paint will also help, plastic will also help. Yeah, zinc. Zinc, because zinc will be occurring as a sacrificial protection, hence D is the correct answer. Now let's move on to 17. Three types of steel have different properties. Steel one is easily shaped. Easy shape means it is low carbon. Okay. Brittle means it has high carbon. Okay. And resistant to corrosion means it is stainless steel. Okay. We know the properties, right? Oh, this all. So now what are the names of these three types of steel? So steel one, which is low carbon, or yeah, it can be mild. Okay. Low or mild. So the answer must be from C and D. Now steel two, which is brittle, means it has high carbon. So it means that high carbon means C2 is, so from C, these two are correct. And then C3, which is stainless, this is also correct. So hence, part C is the correct answer. Okay. So I think we might just stop. We have done many questions until now. So that's it for today, guys. And we'll do some more questions. But now I'm a little tired and hence I want to stop this lecture. And we'll soon upload the second part. Okay. No worries. And thank you. Allah Hafiz. Okay, guys. So do welcome back. Do see my other lectures on the chapter metals, which are very helpful for some of my students. Okay. So do check it out. So that's it for today, guys. Allah Hafiz.